Hi everyone, it's Jon Mitchell, Mayor of New Bedford, and this is another installment of the Mayor's Weekly Update. So let's start off where we usually do, and that is with the latest with COVID. So cases in the city are roughly where they were last week, about roughly 30 cases a day over the previous 7-day period. So there's good and bad with that. The good is that the acceleration that we were seeing a few weeks ago is probably slowed, but the virus is still very much around here, and it's almost all Delta variant. Over 90% of the new cases are associated with the Delta variant, so which, as we know, is really contagious. So, the precautions that we've had in place will remain in place for the foreseeable future. Masks in schools and municipal buildings. We're requiring vaccinations of city employees. We're not doing restrictions on businesses and such like we did last year. I still don't think that that's something that we want to be doing. Just given current circumstances, and we don't want to get back to the point where that becomes necessary. And so therein lies what we can all do to prevent it, and that's to get vaccinated. If you haven't gotten vaccinated yet, we know that the Pfizer vaccine has been fully approved by the FDA, and so there's no question now about whether there's been enough data or so forth. It's in place now, and we also know that the vaccine is readily available. It's easy to get. We're still doing clinics all around the city. You can go into one of the pharmacies, they have it. You can get it from your doctor. So, and again, I'm trying to state the facts as I see them, but I'm not a medical doctor. If you really you want to know more before you make that decision, I just suggest that you go to your doctor just as you would for any other medication. And we'll keep you informed. Secondly, I just want to talk about all the weather we've been having. Tropical Storm Henri came through, and then the remnants of Hurricane Ida. It's been raining a lot. It's been it's been very volatile, and I just say, look, we're getting more of these storm events, and for whatever reason, we are having to deal with flooding more often. And the one thing I just want people to do, there are really two things. Stay tuned for the city's updates about storms and the like, but separately from that, if you see flooding around, you really want to avoid it. There's flooding in places like Brownell Avenue and around Fuller Parkway through Buntwood Park. There's a couple of streets in the north end that were flooded. If you see flooding, just stay away from it. It's oftentimes you're driving down the street, you see a flooded area, it doesn't look like a big deal, it just looks like a big puddle. It might not be a big puddle, it actually might be deep. And most of the deaths associated that are caused by flooding happen to people in their cars. And so that's just something to keep in mind as you're driving around in a big rain event. I also want to, and here we are coming up on Labor Day, really thank our city employees for their labor and their commitment to responding to these storms. They've done a great job, whether it's the folks in DPI who've cut back on trees, street trees that have fallen down, or branches, cleaned up branches. They were totally on top of it, or our public safety agencies, police, fire, and EMS, who have been helping people make sure that they're safe, whether it's driving through flooded areas or other things. They've really kept an eye out for problems. So I just want to thank them and all of our city employees for the work they do. The last thing I want to say is just in the way of reminder, the city has received a considerable amount of federal money through the American Rescue Act, and the act itself, the city council has before it a provision that would allow the city to accept the grant, and so that's coming up. We hope soon. In the meantime, we want to continue to hear from you about your ideas. Please go on the city's website or email me or even call my office to tell us your ideas about how that money should be spent. There are certain things that we can't do a lot of. For instance, road construction is in general not allowed under the act, and that would be certainly near the top of my list, if not at the very top. But there are lots of other things that we can do with the funds. And I just want to make sure that we're getting the best ideas from everybody. So let us know, weigh in. However, don't think your idea is too crazy, just let us know, and we want to make sure we're getting the benefit of everybody's input. So with all that, that's been the Mayor's Weekly Update. We'll see you next week.